Alrighty, welcome to the first ever Commish off-season breakdown. What happened was I submitted a form for every GM in the majors, and it looks like only six responded. So shout out to you six for making history. I'm gonna be going through your form. Originally, I was actually going to do a audio podcast, but then I realized, wait a minute, we have a whole video section of our website, and I'd like to see more traction there. So I'm gonna put this there, and maybe that will inspire people to make videos. But the first person to submit a form was Juniped, and what will happen is I will have timestamps in the YouTube video in the description, so you could just click to where your team is. That will be easy for me to do. But first, of course, it's my team, the Supernovas, and we caught a lot of heat. We hyped ourselves up and missed the playoffs last season. We heard it from everybody, all you watching. Some of you at least threw jabs at us, and we deserved it. We built a team that failed essentially. So, Junie went back to the drawing board in the offseason, and we think we're in a better spot now than we were last season to make the playoffs for the first time in a decade in the sim. But Juniped gave himself a 5 last season, so Juniped's pretty new to the role. So pretty modest rating. Also, given our results in the sim, that 5 could be accurate. But I still think it's a pretty harsh rating. I think when you try to make moves and they fail, at least you try to make moves to make things happen. You can't force the sim to give you good sim luck. What are your best accomplishments of season 25? I've literally done nothing. Junie, you're a funny guy. You did way more than nothing. You're our biggest tester in the locker room. What were your biggest setbacks? Touched on it already. Yep, failed to reach the playoffs. What are your plans to succeed in season 26? Getting free agents. This was filled out, seems like a bit ago now, about a couple weeks ago. Actually, we made moves in trades more than free agency. A little bit of free agency, getting players back, but um, yeah, definitely uh, trades were big for us. Plans for season 27. If we can't maintain our team as a consistent force, then maybe a rebuild is in order. A good take on that, from what I've talked about with Junie, it's hard to predict the future when we're just so focused on building out the best possible strategies and lineups for this season. It's one of those where, like, I guess the GMs of the Supernovas will cross that bridge when they get there. What are some users that deserve to be shouted out for contributions, whether in your locker room or around the league? Um, Mention me, which is great. Thank you, Juniped. And IO Torrent. IO Torrent, you may know, runs PBE Rewind. I don't know if there's going to be a rewind dropped for the off-season breakdown, but hopefully we can get them doing some live stuff, breaking down um, our sim, middle of the season before a stream. We did that one time. My power went out. Apologize for that. Um, that's what happens when you live in Florida and it storms a lot. Who are some of your top performing players in the sim in season 25 and why? Um, so yeah, Tristan Lung won Pitcher of the Year. He won Reliever of the Year. Skyrocketed his legacy score points, and is one of the best pitchers of all time, and had one of the best seasons of all time. Looks like this was submitted back on June 6th, according to here. So yeah, this was 2 weeks ago, so a long time ago. A lot happens in this league in 2 weeks. And who from your team is due for a breakout season? Pork Torkelton, IO Torrent. Pork has been waiting his turn. Was top 5 in WAR last year, but racked up a lot of losses. So just shows that the sim can kind of be your friend. It could be your enemy. And yeah, I agree about IO Torrent. I think it's his time to shine. hopefully his back can get going for us this season. And next up, we got the Buffalo Surge filled out. Form was filled out by Netlandic. Thank you, Netlandic, for entering this video. Gave himself a rating of 7. When you're one of the 2 expansion teams and you're a new co-GM for the first time, yeah, it's going to be difficult. And I feel like Net stepped up to the plate. Worked with Symmetric, his main GM, and figured out how to do things, sign free agents, and reason with trade talks, talk to free agents. It's a tough challenge to just step in and do the job after not really ever doing the job. So, shout out to Net for taking on the challenge, as difficult it could be at times. What were your best accomplishments last season? Learning the day to day as a GM. Thank you, Net, for answering this question, and yeah, for being honest. Yeah, it was amazing to watch you learn. I get to see everything from a front row view, and seeing you interact in the GM chat. Talking to other people around the league. Getting your name out there was really cool to witness. Setbacks last season was tough, having a losing record. Some players not performing as expected. I'm used to that personally as a player. So you can't be too high when things are good, and you can't be too low when things are bad. You got to be somewhere in the middle, and I feel like you guys are doing a good job of that. So just keep it up. Plans to succeed next season. Keep developing the younger guys at the major league level. I got the compendium open for you guys, and it's interesting to point out, Serbango, Cesar Suave. Then you got Blue Line there, Inkerbell. You got Wombat with Ruben Ramirez. You got a nice young core there. Hoppy, Sonnet, um, Meals on Wheels. A lot of big names in there. And so, you got the youth, you got the core that's for the future. Maybe try to match it up with Danny Gonzalez's time, since he's season 23, and Spakak as well. So, yeah, definitely got a team for the future. Going to be fun to see them hopefully stay together and build together. Would be awesome to see that team stick. Plans for next season and beyond. Similar, just keep developing prospects. Users that deserve to be shouted out, S-Sens and Uzi, are not only amazing young players, but great locker room graphics people. A shout out to you guys, S-Sens and Uzi. Net decided it was cool to give you this shout out. So, yeah, hope you appreciate that. Smash Jackson was a star, a top performer from last season. Reliever who can get us out of any situation. That's W. Scheib to be exact. And is back with us now with Josh Smaxson. So it's good to have W. Scheib back. Love that dude. And yeah, it's cool to have Net, tip the cap to Scheib. And breakout season, Danny Gonzalez, Symmetric is player. The daughter of his former player, Danny Gonzalez, female player, former Vandal, was a top pick. Now GM of the Surge. So looking forward to seeing her progress as a player. Going to be checking her stats. Defensive guru out there in center field. So let's see if you can gun for a Gold Glove. And that's your Surge breakdown. Good luck to you guys this season. And next up, we got the San Antonio Sloths, led by Juosu, who filled out this form. Thank you, Juosu. Giving yourself a 9. Yeah, the class of the PBE, right? Been around for a while. Longest tenured GM. One of the original members of the league. Juosu, has done a lot of important stuff for the league, history keeping, and obviously he's done an amazing job as a Sloths GM. Somebody that people can look up to in that role. What were some of your best accomplishments? So they reached the playoffs while losing 6,000 TBE, and they started 3 hitters under 700, still made the playoffs anyway. So, Yeah, that's a pretty nice accomplishment. Now, you played in the Legends Conference. We talked about Sarasota not making the playoffs out of the Champions Conference. Um, Legends Conference definitely struggled more. It was no secret they were the worst conference, so benefiting off that, but obviously just great GMing at the same time. You can't knock the hustle. The Sloths are the standard. Have been one of the, if not one of the most, if not the most consistent organization in the league. Biggest setbacks, they lost this 6,000 TPE in the offseason, losing Taco Shop to Detroit. If you weren't made aware, Detroit co-GM Taco Shop was traded from San Antonio to Detroit, and it was a pretty big trade. I think they gave up multiple firsts. So yeah, Sloss building for the future while competing, a pretty commendable thing to do. Plans to succeed next season, bringing back most people who are now going to be a year improved. Pitching is the biggest point of strength, and hopefully we'll be able to carry them. The offense will struggle. Lost 6 starters under 1,000 TPE. Oh, excuse me. They will struggle a lot with 6 starters that are under 1,000 TPE. Pitching will carry us, as mentioned. So, yeah, got a great rotation led by Greer. Um, John Rayner is one of the top earners in the league. Ryan Rose still kicking. So, should be interesting to see what they do with that crazy rotation. Plans for the following season: extend everybody, keep them around, great young core, ridiculous amount of picks in the first 2 rounds, next 4 seasons. I think they have 2 first rounders in each of the next 4 seasons, which makes that 8 total. So, 8 max earners, that will do it. That's how you build a dynasty. So kudos to San Antonio for having that built out. Users that deserve to be shouted out: Bo Sox, who we have a friendly rivalry. Cool dude, but you smell bad. Taco Shop, deservedly getting the co-GM. Really cool for Drew to tip the cap to Taco Shop on his way out. Rye on Twitch is his Twitch name, but Rye is Ryan Rose, legend for the team, surefire Hall of Famer, gives great advice to young players. Ronco, Overwatch, and Faust. Doing great work with testing, great rookies, younger guys. Chris Brick Squared is now a new sim file handler. Faust was our balancing team head. Thank you for for the work you did, and appreciate all the work. Cletus and Thad Thrasher. I know Thad Thrasher leads the video team, so contributing to Thad's team right now. Highlighting SLM, who's in minor league HO, Kitakazi, director, and Ultima Commanda. Some of your top performing players in Sim last season: San Antonio, Juosu's player, did well. She was the leader in TPE. Rotation was amazing. Greer, Windsor, Rose, having good claims for votes for pitcher of the year. Bullpen with Rodriguez Jr. and Dugan. Abbott, Dinkle, Khan, and Matata had good years on offense. Due for a breakout season, Acuna Matata is way overdue, according to Juosu. Christy Abbott, since they will both have to carry the offense. And hopefully rookies can improve too. Sloths are built to make the playoffs again. I feel like every season we just kind of just count them in to make it. So I'm intrigued by the new look Sloths, losing Haywood Dinkle, who's a big component for their offense. Who will pick up the slack? Will it be Acuna Matata, who is apparently due for a breakout season? That's something that we'll have to watch as the season goes on. But thank you for Drew Osu's form here. Thank you, Drew Osu, for leading this team. And that is your Sloths breakdown. And next, we got the team that drafted me. This should be exciting. This form was submitted June 6th, and it's now June 22nd, almost 2 in the morning, my time. AJ filled this out. AJ gave us love you, brother. Far from a 1. You were handed an organization that had a lot of players transitioning out of their career, and you made the most of it so far. last season you made it to game 109, and so imagine you win game 109, you play OBX. Do you also beat OBX like Boise did? Because you lose to Boise in the game 109. They sweep OBX. I wonder what would have happened if the Vandals were in that role. Do they also win in the first round? Kind of a crazy, wacky playoffs we had in the Legends Conference last season overall, with the game 109 happening in that conference, and also Boise. Definitely not a one though, and this off-season moves you made, AJ, definitely solidify you at least in the upper half. Looking forward to what that roster can do. Accomplishment of last season, almost getting to the playoffs, as mentioned, played in a game 109 against Boise. Biggest setback, not getting to the playoffs. The playoffs are everything. Notice how a lot of these forums talk about the playoffs here tonight. The plans to succeed, yep, get to the playoffs, keeping it simple, AJ does. But it's not that simple. As you could tell, they traded for Willie Colon, traded away Zach Mouse, building for the present and the future at the same time. We could check out their compendium real fast. And I'll move my video over so you could see the names. And yeah, there's your roster. Willie Colon leading the charge. Still got Hammy Iceman, Scheiderme, Kringo. Glims is coming into their own. Sam Andrews, youngster, almost at 900 TPE, 850 TPE. And you got a good core. You got a good, healthy balance of old and young. Veteran presence, trading for the best TPE earner in the league. I'm really intrigued by that. I'm intrigued by this roster. We could check out draft picks as well, see what they're doing there. But yeah, they gave away their first, but they got a second in the next year's draft. So helping themselves build for the future while winning in the present. And let's see. Plans for the following season: get to the playoffs and then win the World Series. Shout outs for Dr. K, DG, Sam, and Hammy. Done a lot of work for this league. Dr. K is now the co-GM of the Dynamos. DG, co-GM of the Dillos. Sam, co-GM of the Vandals. And Hammy has been our most dedicated podcast grader in the league for the media team. So, half of those are my former teammates, so love to see them getting shout outs. Top performing players last season: Zach Lodge, Zach Mouse, and McMuffin had great defense last season, Gold Glove. Zach Mouse now with the Apex should be interesting to see that him in my division. And who's due for a breakout? Digger Jr., Sone User, a streamer, Takahashi, Glims TC, and Tosin. So interesting. AJ named 3 pitchers. Maybe it's the bias of being a pitcher, just wanting to see fellow pitchers succeed. But yeah, looking forward to this next season. I think the Legends Conference is always that last wild card spot still open for them to take, in an arms race for that last spot with Boise right now. Maybe we'll see another game 109. Also, you got to take Providence into account as well. I think they're building a pretty good team. So looking forward to this season, guys. And thank you, AJ, for doing an amazing job as GM of the Vandals and just being a great contributor to our league. We love you. And yeah, that's your Vandals breakdown. Next, we got the Voy Boys, defending champs back to back now. Thank you, Babs, for filling this out. Gave himself a 10. I think you could do that when you go back to back. Interesting, the only 10 so far of the night. Yeah, the new standard. So I talked about Juosu being the standard. I think the Voyagers are the new standard. I think that's what everyone's chasing now, is that team, that organization, how they handle themselves. They won the World Series, 2 letters. Babs coming through with the mic drop there. Setbacks, they lost players in expansion that they didn't want to lose. That's just the nature of the beast, right? Every expansion, teams lose players they don't want to lose. Plans to succeed in season 26, keeping everyone together. Following season, just to keep winning. Users that deserve to be shouted out: Enoch, MDM, Coulter Seth, just a great contributor to this league. Updater does a great job. Slothface, great contributor, great in the social sphere. Love Slothface. Paz, HO member, right hand man, great human being. Laser, a freaking legend now, our regression team head as well as a dedicated HO member. Brainchild is co-GM um, now of Seattle, so it's interesting giving Brain a shout out. And Shu, of course, another head office. So 3 players mentioned here currently in head office. Um, Top performing players last season: Slim and Shu, best hitting duo in the league. Sevart taking another shot at pitcher of the year. 3 great players, um, 3 great users. So the Voyagers, like I said, the standard of the league now. Who's due for a breakout season? Keep an eye on Kirk Swerve. Had a pretty solid season. Big breakout coming up. We love Kirk Swerve. Always in the Twitch chat. Everywhere you see Kirk Swerve. So um, cool for Babs to shout him out. And also he's in the PBE Fantasy Draft Podcast Federation. But yeah, we'll do a quick check since they had a quick one. We'll check out the Voyagers on the compendium. Um, yeah, just super solid all the way through. Um, with Paz and Kuntz right there and Shu all with 1600 TPE or more as offensive players. And then you still got Sevart at 1700 as well. Um, yeah, they should be pretty strong. They had, I was hearing they're testing really well, so maybe they can go for that three-peat. Hasn't been done in a while. Would be interesting to see. Um, and those users deserve it. So yeah, that's your Voyagers off-season breakdown. Thank you, Babs, for submitting that form, and good luck to you guys next season. Not that you need much luck, but we'll see you out there on the field.